What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video by Trunk Fresh Green 34, and today we have a super exciting review. I've not been this excited to review a mainline item in quite some time. We have a new Amazon exclusive 3-pack featuring Ivy from Cars on the Road. Finally, I don't know how they didn't try and get an Ivy diecast out when the show released, considering she is one of the more major characters in the show. But, better late than never, I suppose. Because people were thinking that they actually weren't going to release Ivy at all, which, I'm sorry. I don't know how you could possibly believe that. It's like those people who believed Mattel was never going to finish the next gens. Of course they're going to do them eventually. They're just waiting. And sure enough, that was the case with Ivy. So like I said, this is an Amazon exclusive 3-pack. Just went in stock about a little less than a month ago, I think. And this is pretty much how we're going to be getting deluxes now. They're just going to be thrown into multi-packs and stuff because, yeah, they, in case you guys didn't know, they have canceled deluxes for 2023. There's no deluxe line, so they couldn't do Ivy in the main line, in the deluxe main line, I guess, if that makes sense. So they had to throw her in a multi-pack so that they could actually produce her. And that is what they did. Now, I will just move this out of the way really quick. The presentation of the pack isn't super exciting. It's literally just a cardboard box that says Disney Plus 3-pack. That's pretty much it. That's usually how these Amazon packs go. And then they come in this blister container holding the cars in, and it comes with this nice little piece of paper that shows us what we're getting. So of course these are from Cars on the Road. Very, very nice. We have the exclusive Ivy. This is based on her appearance in the Showtime episode. So I call this Circus Ivy, which, they just say Ivy, but it's really Circus Ivy. And then we have McQueen and Mater, the road trip versions. Specifically, one of the other reasons why I was super excited to get this pack, these are specifically the new 2023 versions, which have new expressions and stuff. And these did come out as singles in case C this year, so that those are not exclusive to this pack. It's just Ivy that's exclusive. But those McQueen and Maters, the singles case that they're in had not shown up here in Canada. So I was excited to get this 3-pack because it's technically 3 for 3 new items for me, which never happens and probably doesn't happen to anybody ever these days. Unless you're starting out collecting for the first time, that probably never happens. So yeah, it was a very long introduction, but let's get these guys out of the blister. Yeah, it's just this big tray that they come in. We'll take out McQueen first because he's been kind of loose. We've got Mater, and lastly, Ivy. Perfect. We're gonna start with the boring stuff. We're gonna start with Road Trip McQueen. Now, I did do an in-depth look at Road Trip McQueen in my review of the Circus Velocitas 4-pack earlier this year, so I will leave a link to that in the description. But, like I said, this is a new variant that's available in 2023 Singles KC, where they actually completely changed the expression. And I gotta say, it looks 10 times better now than it did before. When this original Road Trip McQueen leaked around, I think it was May of 2022, an early prototype leaked online, I was like, that looks kind of terrible. And then it released that way, and I was disappointed. And I think one of the gripes I had was just the design. I'm not a huge fan of the road trip design, but I thought it looked fine on both the Mini Racer and Disney Store recently did their take on it, and I thought it looked pretty good there as well. So I didn't think it was the design necessarily, even though, don't get me wrong, I think the design sucks, but I don't think the design was what was making the diecast unappealing to me. Because like I said, it looked good on the Disney Store and Mini Racer version. I think it was just the expression. I don't know why, but something about it just did not look right. Because this in my opinion, looks fantastic. So much better. He has a much bigger smile now. The eyes, the right eyelid, or I guess it's his left, is raised a bit compared to the other one, whereas here they're a lot more even, and it kind of gives like a nice bit of character. Because that's one thing that a lot of diecasts just don't have is unique expressions. They're all kind of static, looking straight at you, and it's not great. They don't feel dynamic. They don't feel like properly emotive. But here, it looks fantastic. I gotta hand it to them. I am absolutely a big fan. Another thing that they did that I can see off the bat, I don't know if this is exclusive to this variant or if some versions of the original one have this, but you can see the hood outline is much more prominent on the new version, which I like. Definitely looks a bit more realistic. But otherwise, I believe it's basically the same release. I don't think they changed anything else. And yeah, it doesn't look like they did anything else to it. Let's see. Made in Thailand in the 19th week of, I believe, 2022. And this one, made in Thailand in the 4th week of 2023. That makes sense. And of course, he has the hole for Mater with working toe hook, because all McQueens have that now, which is awesome. Yeah, I am a big, big fan of this new variant. Definitely prefer this one over the original, 100%. So that's enough for McQueen. Now we have another much more interesting one, in my opinion. We have Mater. And yeah, this is definitely okay, so I ranted about this in the Circus 4-pack video, but Mattel made their Road Trip Mater, which came out obviously alongside all the other on-the-road stuff. It was literally just a regular Mater, with no changes. And it was ridiculously scummy for them to give it a new name and to try and convince people that it was somehow different, but it's not. It wasn't different in any capacity. And they did kind of like loophole it a bit because they didn't actually mark it as new for 2022 like they did everything else from on the road. But at that point, why even change the name to Road Trip Mater? Just call it Mater. Like, it's so frustrating. I assumed that their Road Trip Mater diecast was going to be the Precision Series mold for Mater, because they've used that before for Mater with 95 hat and Mater with Lightning Bolt hat, and the on-the-road color changer upgraded to that model in the color changer 2-pack with Mater and Sarah Cogs. It switched to the Precision Series Mater mold. So I was like, okay, maybe they're going to do that on the diecast Mater, and that'll be the quote-unquote Road Trip Mater. But no, it was just a regular Mater. My conspiracy theory was that they were actually going to do the Precision Series model version, but then they just like ran out of time or something. I don't know if that's necessarily true. That's kind of just like my little theory. But anyways, it was terrible. It was absolutely awful. But in 2023 Singles KC, Mattel corrected their big mistake and gave us a proper, definitive Road Trip Mater, and I could not be more ecstatic because he looks awesome. The theory I've seen is that this could be Mater from the Trucks episode where he's singing, which I guess is possible. I think it's just meant to be like a basic happy Mater, which is really nice. Now, to me, it kind of looks like a hodgepodge of different Maters. It looks like the same eyes as 95 hat Mater, but with like the same mold as 95 and 51 Mater, because as you can see, both of them have the raised front, which was a nice touch. And you can see the mouth is even like the same on both of those Maters there. So I think it is like the same mold as this, but with like different eyes, because and even like the eyes, when I say the same eyes as 95 hat Mater, I mean just literally the two eyes. I think the two eye decals look the same. The actual eyelids are much more reminiscent of this version, just without that little part at the bottom there. So yeah, it's like a little bit of a hodgepodge of two different Maters, which is interesting. But I don't really care because it is superior to the regular Mater in almost every aspect. Like I said, the expression is much better, it's unique, it's dynamic, it feels like it was taken, like someone took a screenshot of the movie, got him in a very, like, natural expression. It doesn't feel forced like the static, looking directly at you expression of, like, this. Like I said, it's got the raised front, which again I think is a nice touch. They've done that a lot with Mater over the last few years. Like I just showed you, they had 95 and 51 hat Mater that did it. A Mater with cone teeth did it, and I think that's it. I wanted to say there was another one, but I don't think there is. I think it's just those two. Yeah, I'm not gonna go super in depth because it is Mater. One gripe that I do have is the working tow hook, which they don't include on this version. And they didn't include it on this regular one either, which is a bit disappointing. Because I don't like the idea that the working tow hook is a separate release. I think that should just be the standard for all Maters going forward. That should just be the definitive thing, just like how all McQueens now have the hole to put Mater's working tow hook in. I don't know why they won't do it. To me, it just seems kind of weird, but it was a way to get us to buy another Mater, so I guess it was done deliberately to make some extra money. And then the bases, nothing too special about these. I'll just show them quick. So yeah, overall, very, very nice. Yeah, super happy with these Mater and McQueen corrections. I am very glad that they actually decided to fix them up because they desperately needed it. Now it's time for the star of the show, Ivy. I'm so excited. It's like this is a character that like everybody has been wanting to get from On the Road, and then there was that like weird fear that maybe they weren't gonna do it because they canceled deluxes, but no, she's here, and I am super super excited to take a look at her. So I did just want to quickly do like a size comparison. Here she is next to McQueen, and she is much much taller as she should be. The fact that they went with like this Amazon pack for her meant that they could just make the blister as big as they wanted to. They didn't have to worry about like card back restrictions. So they could make the blister big, which meant they can make the die cast big. It's scaled very very well to say the least, and I am super happy about that. Like yeah, she's massive. I'll do a comparison with Mater as well. Now Mater's obviously a bit closer in size. Now I'm also using the one with the raised front. So if we take a look at just regular Mater, you'll see, yeah, a lot closer in size, but Ivy is still much, much bigger. Very happy about that. One thing that she doesn't do that I'm noticing, that's just kind of weird because I'm surprised they didn't do this. Last year I reviewed Craig Faster, who's another like monster truck type character, and he's set up so that when like you turn the body, you can turn the body and the wheels will like turn. I guess I don't know how to describe it, but it was a very cool little feature, and I was surprised that they did it. And I'm really equally surprised that they did not do it for Ivy, especially because in the show, Ivy does a lot of like really unrealistic things that a monster truck can't do, just because of the sheer size and weight of them. But you would think that Mattel would have gone out of their way to add that feature in because it would match the movements that she does in the show. That is really interesting, actually, that they didn't do that. Huh. One thing that I don't like is the expression. Also, what? Her eyes look super dirty. It's like kind of hard to see, but they look. You can't see it on camera at all, but it looks just darker and dirty. Not a fan. But yeah, one thing that I don't like is the expression. It just looks so robotic and static, which is what we've been talking about throughout this video. But yeah, this is like the example of what not to do on your release. Like this doesn't look great, in my opinion. I think the eyes are also a bit too far apart. It's so slight. Like if they just move them closer together a little bit, it would probably be fine. But no, It just looks weird, in my opinion. She does have a nice big smile, which is great. You know, she's happy to be at the circus. Headlights. This is obviously her after she gets cleaned up at the whale wash. So this is how she's normally gonna look. And this brings me to my critique with On the Road. She came out of the whale wash, and you can see she's got these like orange flames and this like gold design here across the fender, which is very reminiscent of what some of the cars in the Circus had already, such as the Circus plane. You can see we've got some, obviously these aren't the same, but like got that like blue and gold and, you know, similar flame design, albeit not the same. And it just felt too perfect. I thought the setup was going to be, when we saw her come out of the whale wash like that, I thought it was going to be, oh, she was actually in the circus a long time ago. Um, but then that doesn't really work with the backstory they give her in the previous episode, where she was like, the monster truck at like the monster truck rally thing, where she had to jump over the demolition derby cars. But I thought maybe we were going to find out that she was in the circus before that or something, and that's why she had this paint job. But no, she just coincidentally had a paint job that was very similar to what some of the clowns at the circus already had, which is just a little bit too perfect in my opinion. It's just different enough that like you wouldn't necessarily connect the dots, but to me, I can kind of see a bit of a resemblance, which I'm not a big fan of. But like I did mention during that rant, she does have orange flames and that go from the back fender all across the door. She's got this like I was gonna say the fender itself was yellow, but no, it's part of the flame. The flame transitions from like dark orange to bright orange to yellow, and then the yellow one goes over the fender. That's kind of cool. She has big monster truck wheels, much bigger than Craig Faster's wheels, for sure. Which I guess actually that's probably why they couldn't give her that feature, because her wheels are much bigger. So I guess that does make a little bit of sense. But as you can see, they are big. They've got treads on them, and they have a nice golden outline inside, which makes me think these are like, I don't know. It kind of gives off like luxurious, expensive vibes, I guess. I don't know. I mean, how many people do you see with like gold rims? Doesn't happen too often. The interior part of them is pretty basic. Nothing to say there. Obviously, this side is the same. She's got her two great windows, big blue mirrors on the side, or I guess teal. I think they're supposed to be like teal mirrors. She has this weird bit here, which would be where her license plate goes. I don't know why that's a separate piece, and I also don't know why she doesn't even have a license plate. That is really weird, in my opinion. I'm not entirely sure what that's about. She does have this, I assume this is supposed to be like a metallic gold, but since it's plastic, they just went for like a dirty gold bar in the back that goes from, you know, the roof attaches to the bed of her truck. And you can see you got the truck bed in there. And then there's also this like segmented piece back here for her back window. I don't know why that's a separate piece either. It looks weird because it's a different color. I guess I can understand, kind of. Like, I think what's happening, if I look at the base, and it's hard to tell, I want to say that maybe the back window and the license plate bit are, like, connected. Like, those are one piece inside, which would explain why they're different colors than the rest of the body. But it might be two separate pieces. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on there, but it looks a little jarring. I don't think it's as bad for the back window, but it's definitely jarring on where the license plate area is. Oh, and I didn't notice this. She has a notch here for her to pull down the bed, which is cool. And she's got these like lights up here. They're again that like on top of that like dirty gold bar. And you can see the light pattern in there. And yeah, there's the base. Nothing too exciting. I'm not going to be able to make out a date stamp. Or actually, maybe I can. Wait. 49th week of 2022. You can't tell. Oh, you can kind of tell. Right there. R49A, the 49th week of 2022. Interesting that she was made so much later than the McQueen here, because this was made in the 4th week of this year, so that's really interesting. But that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely a fantastic pack, 100%. Even though Ivy isn't perfect, like I think the expression's not great, still an absolutely fantastic diecast, and I'm really glad that they finally released her. Now we just need the Bigfoot and B-movie versions, but you know, one step at a time. Like I said, if you do not have the McQueen and Mater variants, 100% get this pack. Even if you do, I would still get this pack just for Ivy, but yeah, definitely a worthwhile purchase. Like I said, it is Amazon exclusive, so I will leave a link to the pack in the description below so you can get one. I'll leave a link to the Amazon US page, since I imagine most of my viewers are going to be from the US. Actually, I might put in like a couple links. I'll do like US, Canada, UK, just so that everyone has a chance. Oh yeah, I was gonna, kind of forgot to do this. I kind of just went straight into my outro. I had the circus plane brought out, so I was gonna like show her with the plane. Yeah, I look forward to putting Ivy on display with the other Circus Velocitas releases. Yeah, definitely a really great pack, and hopefully, there is supposed to be another Amazon 3-pack coming. Hopefully that one's just as good as this one. I don't know what's going to be in it. None of us do. But I'm holding out for another exclusive. I don't want it to just be like McQueen, Mater, and Cruz from On the Road, you know? But hopefully it's just as good. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.